What is going on, guys? Today we're going to be working on this 2015 Ford Mustang. I recorded a couple clips on how I took out the valve cover and the oil pan. I don't know if I'm going to put it in this video just because it's video editing. I don't know if it's going to let me adjust some videos from my phone to my editing on my computer. Also, what we're going to be doing now is we're going to take apart the engine and swap it for another one. Just because this one had a rod knock, so it's not like savable in a way, I guess you could say. So we're just gonna swap a new one. I'm trying to do step by step on how to take out this engine out, and we'll go from there. Alright, you guys, what I got here is a 2015 EcoBoost 2.3 Mustang. Right now what we're doing is we drain the oil. We're checking if there's any metal shavings. I'm going to add this little clip right here right now to see. It sounds like a knocking, like a rod knock or a ticking in the top of the engine. I'll play it right now. Go! Go! Alright guys, so after you guys seen that, what it got me thinking is, I feel like it's more here. I'm gonna check, make sure all the rockers and lifters are good. I'm gonna take out the valve cover. But other than that, if not, I'm gonna have to take off the oil pan and see maybe it's a bearing, a rod, or something's going bad. I'm hoping it's just a lifter or something, because when you start it up, it sounds good, but it's like a little, you know, you feel me? So let's take this apart and see what happens. Alright guys, so right now what we started doing is we're going to take off the valve cover. We disconnected these connectors to the coil packs, and we got to take off these 8mm bolts that hold on to the coil packs. Another thing is also with the tool, I pried these off, these little clip things over here to get free the harness so it give us room to access the valve cover. Also, I disconnected the camshaft sensors on top. You know, we're going to have to disconnect this also, and then go around the whole valve cover and see how many millimeter bolts. These are 8mm bolts all around. Take off the valve cover. What else? Yeah, we'll show you guys along the way. See all the things we gotta take off. Alright guys, so I took out the coil packs, I disconnected the sensor, and I'm not sure. These might be the VVT, but I'm not really certain. I'm gonna look these up. I know that might be the camshaft sensor. There's also another one over here on this side, so I'll take those two sensors off, and then I took off this PCV hose. It connects to the valve cover, and then down here to the air filter. You can see, can you guys see? No. So it's right there, right there. This one right there. And then we're just taking off all the bolts. I believe there is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 over here, 13 and 14. There should be 14 bolts holding on to the valve cover. Now I'm just gonna take the sensor off and disconnect and take off that bolt and this bolt over here. Good. Alright guys, so actually these are the oil pressure sensors, so which is kind of weird. They're filled with metal on both sides and little types of chunk. Yeah, these are the camshafts. So right now we're just prying it off with the flathead over here, and get with that tool over here in the back. So should come off. Just be careful with the sensors. Make sure you don't break them or anything like so. Alright guys, so this line might get in the way a little bit. What we're gonna do is pry it up here and then up here, and then just tilt it in a certain angle. Like I said, be careful with the sensors, and then just mark this underneath. Alright guys, so I actually disconnected the ground, which is on the side of the engine. It's a 13mm bolt, and we're just coming here in between the harness, taking off it, like I said, at an angle, just careful with it, not to damage the cover if you're gonna reuse it. Or the wire. It should be good now. And it's off. So now what we're gonna do is probably set this to time and visually inspect it, see if there's no weird signs of metal shavings, or probably like the, let's see, the, what is called, I forgot the name of them. These caps, see if these caps have any damage, or if there's any damage in the camshaft or anywhere that we could see visually. Alright guys, so now that we took off the valve cover, I mean, we were looking at the oil, there's a little bit of shavings by the cams. The next step, I can't see no visually, like if like a valve or a spring or like the caps are bad or anything. I mean, the next step would just probably be to drop the oil pan. Could be a rod now. So after the oil pan, if we can't find nothing, I'm gonna take off the timing cover, see if I could visually see anything. If not, then it's most likely a rod knock, which I'm hoping it's not. But we'll see. We'll probably be able to salvage it and save it, but it's not too loud of a rod knock. I just want to take it apart and see where I could find the problem.
Alright guys, you guys just saw Jason tell you that you guys are gonna have to take the oil pan off. You're gonna need a 13 socket and a 7mm socket as well. So the 13 is gonna be for these two bolts over here, two other bolts over here, and then two more in the front. You're gonna need the 7 socket for these tiny bolts over here. These are mostly just for plastic covers. They're not that strong, but you're gonna take this one off, these two bolts right here, these two other bolts, and then you guys have 2 bolts here, and then 2 more bolts over here and over here. The rest are gonna be clips. You can get that off with a clip remover easy. And that's it. We guys are taking out the both covers, actually 3 covers, because these are together. We don't have to take out these bolts, these 7mm bolts. You won't have to take them off. Just take off these 13 ones and you'll be fine. And to take out the oil pan now, we're gonna have a couple of bolts going through the oil pan seal. Those are gonna be, should be 10s. Yeah, we're gonna be using a 10 for all around the oil pan. There's gonna be 3 bolts in the transmission that you're gonna have to take off. This one is a 13, and this one's gonna be connected to a line, but with 2 keys, you guys should be fine. But there's another 13 here, and then there's another 13 over here on the other side. Right here. And then
It's right here. Where I points in at, there's a flashlight, and then the other one right here, exactly.
And this one and that one.
And then these 2. So in total, there's 4 bolts right up there and right over here.
Alright guys, as you guys can see in that video, we did show a little bit of clips on how to take out the oil pan, but we didn't really get through the deepness. The point is, it was basically 2 bolts where the transmission goes, and you just had to lift it up with the hoist, or not a hoist, like a little jack, I guess, stand, where it holds it in place, the transmission, and then on top you go with the engine hoist, remove the 2 bolts for the motor mounts, and you press it up, and then you'll slide the oil pan in a way to remove it from there, and that's basically all it was. It was a little bit tricky. You are gonna have to lift the engine a lot, but you'll get it done. Trust me, it's a pretty simple process. If you guys have any questions on that, leave a comment down below. I will get back to you if you have any problems on how to take off the oil pan in that car. Alright guys, so the first thing we would want to do here is obviously drain the oil. We're going to drain the coolant. Lift this up, show you guys what we're going to need. How to drain the coolant. I mean, I'm pretty sure we're going to have to do the little plug or something like that. Now we're going to take out the radiator hose. Now what you want to do is over here, you want to have the reservoir or the cap open, so just so the antifreeze can go and flow with it. There we go. And then we're going to raise it up, and I'll show you how to drain the coolant. So now we're underneath the car, guys. Like I said, I did take out the oil pan off. But the first thing you want to do is drain the oil drain plug. Now that we came here, we're going to come over here, get the radiator drain plug out. We're going to drain it from here. There is going to be an intercooler over here on the bottom because like I said, it is EcoBoost. So just so you don't get it confused, if you're looking right here, there's going to be nothing. This is where the intercooler goes. That's where the drain plug is going to go. Okay guys, so now that we lowered the car down, we're going to take out this plastic cover. It's going to be about like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 clips of these, which you just literally, let's see if it focuses, you literally press up and then just pull this out. And then this plastic piece is going to come off. The reason why we're going to take this plastic trim off is, or this plastic cover is because we're going to get to the radiator supports, because we're going to take off the radiator, we're going to take off the coolant reservoir, we're going to take out these hoses over here, we're going to take out the air filter to get more space so that way the engine can come more over here and up. So like I was saying, now we're going to take out these 10mm bolts that hold on to the reservoir. These hoses over here. Also, that should be all, and then there should be a bottom hose. I'll show you guys when we loosen those 2 bolts. Also, probably gonna take out this hose over here for the radiator. Then I'll show you how to take out the intake. Alright guys, so what I did is I took out the radiator fans. It was a 10mm bolt here and a 10mm bolt here. This basically what it does, it just slides off from here. You guys can see. Oh. So right there is where the bolt goes, and then it just literally like hooks onto that. And on this side, see that bracket? That's where it goes onto. And then there's another 10mm bolt over here. Like I said, it just pops off. Now with the air filter, what I did was there's a 10mm bolt all the way over here. I just need to take that off, and this popped out. And then from where the turbo goes, inside, let me get a flashlight so you guys can see. Inside of that right there, you can see there's a clamp right there. That's where the turbo, that's where the air filter actually goes. Hooked down, so literally you just loosen it, it's a 7mm. And then take off this hole right here that goes to the air filter, and it just slides out like that, and you should have your air filter off. So now that we got that off, I forgot also to mention is that we gotta disconnect this connector right there that goes onto that sensor for the mass airflow. We gonna hook the turbo piping from the intercooler from right there and directly on top of the turbo right here, and this just pops off. There's also a little sensor over here. Let's see what else we gotta do. And then we disconnected this piping from the throttle body. Now, I'm pretty sure I'm gonna leave the radiator here just because there's enough space to go a little bit over here and then lift up. Now I'm gonna get to the AC compressor, just disconnect this, what's it called? This AC switch sensor. And there's another sensor here in the bottom. Also, we're gonna take off this 10mm bolt right here. Then this 10mm bolt, or 10mm nut over here, and then take apart the the vacuum systems. So that one connects to there. It's literally however it's connected on. Let me just get a better closer look into here. That vacuum hose right here, and there should be another one at the bottom. That's second. It's right here, this vacuum. So we're gonna get to that and take it apart. So as you guys can see now, we got the AC compressor removed. It was these 3 13mm bolts. These 2 go on the side of the compressor. This goes on the back. So the compressor, these 2, and then one in the back right there. They mount on to this bracket, one over here, one over here, and one in the back. We also remove the crankshaft position sensor, which is this one. It was just 2 bolts. Now what we're gonna do is also remove the bolts for the motor mount. I believe there were a 21 or a 22 nut. The same thing on this side. Same thing somewhere down there. Let's see. What should we do next? I'm probably gonna start disconnecting the wiring up here. I disconnected some things when I took out the valve cover. I'm trying to play that clip, disconnect these little vacuums, and see where we go from there. Alright guys, so now we came in here. I took off, disconnected, literally pushed this red clip back and disconnected this for the throttle body. I disconnected this for the intake as well. Like I was saying, here is where the nut would go for the motor mount. Now we're gonna disconnect this. Just, you see that black thing right there? We're gonna push it, compress it in, and then pull it out. The same thing on this one. This we're gonna compress up. And careful with your eyes, because I believe this is for fuel, or no, it's vacuum as well. We release this back, so this clip goes like this. So this clip right here goes up, and then you press back and pull down. This one goes to this part of the vacuum, as well as we're going to remove this line for the brake booster. It goes all the way down into here, as well as the fuel line, where we're going to disconnect here, get the fuel line remover tool, disconnect this ground in the back, and start getting to the fuel system over there. Alright guys, so now we're here in the back of the exhaust. We took out these 15mm nuts that hold on, one right here, and the other one is down there. I grabbed an extension and grabbed it from right here behind. This one, it was just easy to get with the ratchet and a socket. I disconnected also the O2 that's connected to this wiring harness over here. I disconnected this for the fuel system in the back. Also over here, this clip, I'm gonna take it off, push it that way, and then that should give me enough room to release this hose over here where the fuel line runs. And we're gonna leave the turbo on here. We're gonna take them out once it's out there. We're gonna take these heater core lines off. I mean, this one goes right here, the one where the little heat shield, and then this one also goes in the back. This one's connected through here as well. We're just gonna move from here. This is a little clip, so you just compress them and then pull. Same thing at the bottom, compress them and then pull. See what else we need to get to. That should give us enough room to get to some transmission bolts there. Here, I think after that, we're probably gonna raise it up and see what we can get from underneath. So now that we got those hoses off and disconnect everything from that, now we're gonna get to this wiring harness over here. We just follow it down straight to the computer, release this back, the little gray clip, press down and then pull. And then we're going to disconnect this one right here, this connector, and then that allows us space to move the harness over that way so it doesn't bug us when we take off the engine. So now that we lift up the car, we're going to disconnect oil pressure sensor, take off the starter, which for the starter we have to disconnect the positive and this ground right here. As well, we got to take out this clip. There should be a clip right here, and this right there. Also, I don't know if you can see this connector, we gotta disconnect it from the bottom, and sensor this right here. So these two bolts are, let me see, let focus. So these two bolts are the bolts for the starter that go onto here where these pins go. Now come over here, we open this tab, and it's gonna be, I believe, a 13mm bolt. Yeah, 13mm nut and a 13mm nut here. This one's for the ground, this is for the positive. Now that's just give us, actually it's gonna be this one right here. It's gonna be a 10 or an 11 nut that's gonna access to remove the positive and remove the negative, so we can remove the starter out. You can leave it hanging, but I just wouldn't recommend it. So now that we took off the starter, we're gonna get this black clip right here, take it off, and then this one should be a 15mm nut, which we're gonna remove the ground from the block. Also, this wiring harness over here, you don't have to worry about. All the connectors are over there on that side, just because, like I said, this wire harness is gonna be the one that runs all the connectors to there. Also, don't forget to disconnect this sensor right there, and then you see this harness over here. We're gonna follow that to the back, which would be that harness goes to right there to the trans. We're gonna disconnect the connector to right there, follow it back all the way to here in the back to that sensor right there, right to that connector right there. So for this connector right here that goes onto the transmission, literally right here, it's just a twist. So you twist that way and then pull to remove it. Alright guys, so as you guys can see right there, there's a 13mm bolt right there where I'm flashing the light. There's another 13 bolt right there where I'm flashing the light. Those two are the ones that hold on the motor to the transmission. Now we go on to the other side. See that bolt is right there. And I'm flashing the light. That's a 13mm bolt as well. And behind here, where this goes, there's a 13mm bolt on this side. Can't really see it just because there. I'm probably gonna lift up the car to show you guys. Alright guys, so I'm hooking up the chain over here to, there should be a bolt right here. That's a hole. It's gonna allow me to bolt this on. Also, right there, that hole that you see right there is where I'm gonna bolt it on the chain, and I'm gonna run the chain down, probably holding to the tensioner, but I'm not sure if that's gonna hold. If not, I'm gonna run it through this bolt, through these holes right here, and bolt up a bolt. Alright guys, so we came down here, we started taking out the torque converter bolts. There's 6 bolts that hold on to the transmission, or to the flywheel, to the torque converter. We rotated over here between the crankshaft pulley. Now the last thing to do is unhook the motor mount on the transmission bolts to the motor, and this should be out. So you just hold it like that. Alright. And then the same thing when you're done, press that. Alright guys, now that we got the engine out, I mean, this is what it looks like. It's fairly somewhat done. We're just waiting on the new engine to come in. It's not that hard, honestly, to be honest. Just simple. You take the engine harness out and then the things for the exhaust. Now you want to come in here. Like I said, all the stuff that we took out was basically the turbo or the intercooler piping, the radiator fans, the air filter was in the way. And I still holded the trans by a ratchet strap just so it doesn't go down more. That's where the exhaust is, motor mounts. I unhooked that. Also right here, if you guys can see, it's a little ground that holds onto the block. The connector for the alternator and the power that sends to the alternator. And this was just the ground. Same thing for the starter, that goes on there. And we're basically done, guys. Thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure you guys stay tuned to keep the rest of the install build and see where we go from here.